What's up, y'all? This is Miz100. This is my YouTube channel. And I would like to welcome y'all to my channel. If you didn't subscribe yet, please, I ask that you please subscribe if you didn't already and hit that like button. But before I begin today's episode, I just want to share some fun facts about me. I know some of the subscribers or people that haven't subscribed to me, I know y'all probably seen me on the internet. On YouTube, sharing my music reviews, the 60 seconds music reviews that I do. Well, my background is I used to be an A&R for an indie music record label here in Philly. I was also an artist manager. I was managing about 4 to 5 artists, 2, 3 at one time and then 2 at another time. But I retired from that. It was a headache. I don't know if anybody out there ever managed some artists. It's almost like taking care of some kids or something like that. But it burnt me out. But also, besides that, I'm born and raised in West Philly. I'm also a freelance photographer. My main thing with photography is I don't really like taking pictures of people. I'm a more so a street photographer, and I like to shoot kind of like things that I see that's artsy in my head. Like I envision stuff as I walk the streets of Philly or whatever city I'm in. I just like to take pictures, and that brings me peace. You know what I mean? And that leads into my third thing that I do. I own a clothing company called Dream First Clothing, and the website is www.dreamfirstclothing.com. And you can go there, purchase a piece over everything hat, or you can get the Dream First logo. These is the full zip hoodies. So the website again is www.dreamfirstclothing.com. So let me get into this episode. This year, hip hop, 2025, in my opinion, has been the best year in hip hop since 1998. That was the last time for me, in my opinion, that hip hop was outstanding. And that was 1998. But I gotta say, for this year, thank God that drill rap shit is done. And I will say the OGs, they doing their thing. They really held down hip hop this year. And I was, with me being, I'm entering into OG hood. So I love it. You know what I'm saying? I came up in the 80s and 90s. I was first introduced to hip hop probably about like 86. You know what I'm saying? So I'm about 48. So So the 90s era for me was the best time for hip hop, in my opinion. But I want to get into some key highlights that took place this year. Y'all remember when Drake filed that defamation lawsuit against Universal Music Group, which he lost? It ended up being dismissed. So Drake was just salty about getting dissed for almost a whole fucking year. That was crazy. And then early in the year, we had rappers Nelly, Snoop, Rick Ross, and Soulja Boy. They all performed at Trunk's inauguration ball. That was crazy. You know what I'm saying? That was a crazy look. But is it really crazy if they got paid the bag? I don't know. They are entertainers. You know what I mean? So entertainers, they got to do what they got to do to get that bag. Also, a highlight, Kendrick Lamar, he won. He cleaned up at the Grammys for the song They Not Like Us. And he headlined the Super Bowl. He had a 2024 ended crazy for Kendrick, yo. You know what I'm saying? That diss was crazy, yo. I mean, that went on and on, yo. I mean, it turned into just a diss song to a whole fucking movement. You know what I mean? But you know, K Dot, yo, he one of them dudes. He's been doing damn, my bad. He's been doing legendary things since he started his career. And also the new artist that everyone is raging over, Doshi, man, I don't know. I still don't know about her, but she did win a Grammy for the best new artist. My bad. She won for the best rap album, that's major. But listen, I see that she's on tour right now, and I'm not a fan of her music, but the way I've been seeing these video clips and she got them chocolate cakes bouncing up and down on that stage, yo, I think I might reconsider of being a fan of hers. You know what I'm saying? Not on no perv shit, but damn, them chocolate cakes. She be slamming them all over on them damn on the stage and shit. But let me get to the other shit. You know, we gotta say rest in peace to the legendary Irv Gotti. He died at the age of 54 early this year. Yeah, so rest in peace to him and his, you know, condolences to his family. Later in the year, Diddy, our man Diddy and shit, he was found guilty. He got found guilty and he's currently serving 50 months in a federal prison. Young Noble from the Outlaws, he died this year. You know, rest in peace to him. To anybody who was a fan of Tupac, you gotta know who Young Noble is and the Outlaws. Yo, them dudes was nice, yo. You know what I mean? Young Noble was he was one of the best ones, as far as the Outlaws with that pen. Oh, and DJ and producer Howie T died this year. If y'all a fan of Chuck Rock, you know who DJ Howie T is. So rest in peace to him as well. But I gotta say, the biggest thing for hip hop this year is what Nas has been doing. Nas and his record label, Master Pill, they rolled out their Legend Has It, which is a multi-album series with legendary rappers. Slick Rick was the first album that came out. Then Raekwon, Ghostface, then Mobb Deep. Then they did a Big L. The Big L thing, that wasn't really like an album. That was more like, I think we just want to honor him and get, you know, let him be remembered and get his family, get the state some money. Because on that wasn't really an album. It was like a bunch of old freestyles that they threw together, and maybe one new song or two songs on there. You know, that was just thrown together. But you know, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, to honor a legend like Big L. Then after the Big L album came out, it was De La Soul. That album was pretty good. The vibe is really good on that. It's a typical De La Soul album, man. They provide a vibe. You know, they legends. And rest in peace to one of their members, Dave. You know, he passed. That was a sad moment for hip hop. But the De La Soul album is it's a good listen. Definitely a nice vibe that they provide. And we got the Nas and Primo album coming. That's coming in about 2 weeks. They said December 12th. That's dropping. But I gotta say, me personally, out of, you know, the albums that was released, I was feeling the Mobb Deep album the best. You know, yes, I'm biased because Mobb Deep is my favorite rap group, period. You know what I'm saying? So to me, the Mobb Deep album stood out the best to me. I was disappointed with the Raekwon album and the Ghostface album. I wasn't really too big on that, but, you know, fuck my opinions about that. What Nas is doing, bringing light to these legendary rappers and groups is amazing. You know what I'm saying? Nobody of his caliber is doing something like this, and it's definitely something to be remembered. And, you know, he just more and more solidifying his legendary status. Some more highlights. Outkast and Salt Pepper. They were indicted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's major. You know what I'm saying? That's major. Salt and Pepper getting that love. That's what's up, yo. Outkast, I seen this. You know what I'm saying? Outkast deserve all of this. And Salt and Pepper do too. Yeah. Max B got released. Oh man, these highlights, man, of hip hop it just made this year hip hop even more interesting with him being released. Prize from the Fugees. He was just sentenced for 14 years. Crazy, yo. But another outstanding moment in hip hop, which I thought was thorough, was Joey Badass. And I'm not talking about his album because I wasn't feeling his album. But Joey Badass took on the whole West Coast on some dissing shit. Like, he was trying to bring the love back to New York on some straight hip hop shit. And it was dope because he took on everybody. He took on a lot of those West Coast. They was coming back at him too. And I was surprisingly nobody from New York had Joey back. But, you know, I guess they wanted to keep it really light, and which they did. And that's the best thing about it. It was just bars. You know what I mean? It was just a bunch of rappers sparring with bars. That's it. No violence was attached to the diss. None of that, that's dope. That was really needed for hip hop. That was a great hip hop moment right there. I was feeling that a lot. And then out of nowhere, surprisingly, Jay Electronica, he released albums. Well, one album was old, but he released like 3 or 4 projects. And some of them sound like uncompleted projects, but if you a Jay Electronica fan, yo, it's like you be happy that he released at least one song. You be happy to hear him on a feature. You know what I mean? But that was just weird. It came out of nowhere, and I was feeling that. It was a great moment for me because I'm a fan of Jay Electronica, and all he did was just make the mystique of him just even greater by doing something like that, because he released those projects and then he just disappeared again and shit. You know what I mean? But yeah, and the last thing I want to touch on for highlights for 2025 hip hop is Cardi B. She released a new album after 7 years from her debut album, which I gave it a listen, but I'm not the biggest fan of her music, so I couldn't fully get through that album. It was too much for me, you know what I'm saying? It's too much. That's an album strictly for women who's in that kind of lifestyle that Cardi B represents. I'm not gonna trash it because everything not for everybody. But yeah, let me get into this, man. Like, I gotta get into my top 5 favorite albums of the year. These are in order too. Number 1 is The Clipse, Let God Sort Them Out. Man, that album is still amazing to me. As we're approaching December, which is, the last month in the year, man, that Clipse album deserves all the accolades and awards. It's just an outstanding album. You can just let it play, full of great production, which was produced entirely by Pharrell, which I'm loving the fact that we're seeing a lot of rappers are having these one producer albums. It's turning out to make some great albums. I think rappers should actually stick to doing that. But the Clipse album is amazing. That's number 1 for me. Number 2 is Freddie Gibbs and the Alchemist, Alfredo 2. That album is amazing. Amazing sounding. Freddie Gibbs don't disappoint with the bars. And matter of fact, in the last 6-7 years, every album that Freddie put out has just been top notch. Let me just put that out there. Number 3 is the Mobb Deep album, Infinite. And of course, I already spoke on that earlier, y'all. Y'all already know how I feel about that. Yeah, I'm biased, but that shit sounds amazing. And I like the fact that Havoc and The Alchemist, they both did beats on there. 2 of my favorite hip hop producers. Can't go wrong with them 2, man. Amazing. My 4th favorite album is 2 Chainz and Larry June. Life is Beautiful, produced by The Alchemist. Again, and the first 4 albums that I mentioned, out of the 4, Alchemist, shit, he fucking had production on 3 out of the 4. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. Yeah, I'll get into that later. But my 5th album is Tyler the Creator, Don't Tap the Glass. Now that album, yo, that's a vibe right there. Like, I'm not even a dancer. I'm not even the nigga that be on the floor trying to dance like that. But this shit, the vibes that it gives, you just let it rock. Just the production alone, it has that 80 sounds in the production, like that 80s pop music sound and shit like that. Yeah, Tyler did his thing. Of course, he don't disappoint with the bars, but it ain't even about bars with this album. It's just a good feeling. It makes you smile. It makes you want to move. It makes you want to dance. It just gives you a good feeling. So, yeah, Tyler did his thing on there, and I just like the vibe that it gives me. So that's my top 5 for the year. My honorable mention albums are, man, RJ Payne, It Feels Good to Win. That's produced entirely by P.A. Dre. Listen, I never heard of this producer named P.A. Dre, but RJ Payne, he has a lot of songs produced by P.A. Dre. That dude production sounds amazing. He has a smooth sound to him. Like, it's not jazzy. Yo, his production is tight, yo. My next album, Locksmith Circus, produced by Heatmakers. I don't know if y'all ever listen to Locksmith out there, but Locksmith is serious with the bars. And you either gonna learn something from Locksmith. Matter of fact, you are gonna learn something from his bars, and you're gonna be very entertained. So yeah, that's dope. J.I.D., God Does Like Ugly, another dope album. Memphis Bleak, Apartment 3-9, that was a dope album. Benny the Butcher, Summertime Butch 2. I won't say that's an album. It was more like a mixtape, but I was fucking with it. I definitely was fucking with that. Now, my man Ransom, this dude put out 4 albums. I don't think no rapper worked harder than him this year, yo. He put out 4 dope albums. But out of the 4, I had 3 actually in my honorable mention. The first one is with DJ Premier called Reinvention. That's dope. Then the Cabrini Green. Actually, the Cabrini Green album, that came out in January, the top of the year. And I almost threw that in my top 5. I almost put it over Tyler. You know what I'm saying? I almost did. But they was going neck and neck. Then the third Ransom album I put on here is with Dave East. It's called The Final Call. That's a really, really good album. Wiz Khalifa, he put out Kush and Orange Juice 2. I think that's more like mixtape. But that's a really laid back, it's a vibe album. You just put that on if you got a long road trip and just vibe out. Or if you in the crib, you cleaning or you cooking, just put his joint on, give you some nice vibes. And then my man Del P, West Philly's finest, his album called Transition of Power, a really, really, really good, solid album from an independent artist out here in Philly. Y'all make sure y'all go check him out. But yeah, this year, man, has been a very, very good year for hip hop. I'm very impressed. I just been excited for hip hop all year because it was like every Friday you didn't know who was coming out, because a lot of these artists they don't even fucking promote. You know, the Clips, they put their album out, you knew it was coming. Like they did the old fashioned way when they promoted their album. But a lot of these artists now, they just go on their Instagram like album out tonight or album out right now. You'd be like, damn, no promo or nothing. So every Friday I'd be like a little kid, like in the candy store, like, damn, who dropping? Who dropping next? I couldn't wait. So this year, I've been very excited with hip hop and very pleased. But I gotta say though, that Alchemist dude, man, he gotta be the hardest working producer, yo. He has a production credit for 55 beats in 2025 alone. And his production is part of like some instant classic albums that was released this year. Life is Beautiful, Mobb Deep album, and Alfredo 2 with Freddie Gibbs. Like they damn near like instant classic albums. You know what I mean? Like, yo, man, he's on an amazing run. And then you got the album coming out with Erykah Badu, which I can't wait to hear that. You know what I mean? But yeah, y'all. So I'm gonna wrap things up, man. This just my first episode of you just vibing with Miz, yo. And I'm with my channel. I'm going to talk about the things that I'm passionate about, like, and that's sports, hip hop, a little bit of fashion, and some trending news topics or whatever. Things that I have passion about. You know what I mean? That's more enjoyable to talk about. I'm a very positive dude, and just call me Miz 100, aka Mr. Peace Over Everything. So don't forget, you could go to www.dreamfirstclothing.com to get some merch, Peace Over Everything hats, t-shirts, hoodies, Dream First. I got all types of merch on there. You make sure you check that out. And then also make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Thanks, y'all. Peace. I'm out.